If x squared plus bx is not part of a perfect square trinomial, you can use the coefficient of b to find a constant c so that x squared plus bx plus c is a perfect square trinomial. When you do this, you are completing the square. The diagram on the following slides models this process. First, we have the expression x squared plus bx, modeled here with algebra tiles. A gray square on the left with side length x will yield an area of x squared units. The tan-colored rectangle on the right with the b and a height of x will yield an area of b times x square units. Now looking at these shapes combined, they form a non-square rectangle. As pointed out here, x squared plus bx is not a perfect square trinomial. The green dashed lines indicate to us the region that we're missing in order to form a perfect square or perfect square trinomial. In the next diagram, as we work to build a perfect square, dividing our tan rectangle in half and placing it as shown here almost completes the square, with a small square still remaining. Now note that square would have a side length of b over 2, and so b over 2 squared would be the area of that small square that we're still missing. What this means is if we add b over 2 squared, or half of b squared, as a constant to our expression, that would complete the square and form a perfect square trinomial. So here we have the diagram, a perfect square representing the expression x squared plus bx plus b over 2 squared. And that expression, a perfect square trinomial, can be factored as the square of the binomial x plus b over 2, as shown here. Take note, key concept, completing the square. You can form a perfect square trinomial of the form x squared plus bx by adding b over 2 squared. The perfect square trinomial that's created, x squared plus bx plus b over 2 squared, equals the binomial x plus b over 2 squared. Problem 4, completing the square. What value completes the square for x squared minus 10x? Justify your answer. Well, first, rewrite the expression x squared minus 10x and identify b. Remember, b is the coefficient of the linear term, or the coefficient of x in this case, and that's negative 10. So we find half of b and square it. Negative 10 over 2 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Now we add the value, 25, to complete the square. Our new expression becomes x squared minus 10x plus 25, a perfect square trinomial. Since it is a perfect square trinomial, we can rewrite it as the square of a binomial. In this case, x minus 5 squared. Your turn, part A. What value completes the square for x squared plus 6x? And part B, a reasoning item. Is it possible for more than one value to complete the square for an expression? Explain.